I got something absolutely creamy and delicious planned for you guys. And for you mushroom lovers, come on over. I've got a beautiful take on my own version of the creamy chicken marsala. Anyone can make this, guys, and you don't even need these fancy mushrooms that I found. Get that recipe over at kcknh.com. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Now, if you're looking for an idea for a Christmas dinner, this is a great way to go. The ingredients are easy to find. In fact, about 90% of this you're going to already have. The only difference is I'm using some fancy local grown mushrooms, but of course you can easily use the regular mushrooms at your favorite grocery store. You may have to hit up the packie store or your liquor store, depending upon where you live, that's how we call it up here, to go and get some marsala. And once you have everything, guys, it's time to prep. And the first thing and foremost, always work your ingredients that you don't have to worry about cross-contamination. So we're going to hit up the mushrooms, the onions, and the garlic first. Now, again, like I said earlier, you don't have to find these fancy mushrooms. We are very blessed to have the most incredible man out in Brentwood, New Hampshire. He sells cultivated mushrooms that he grows there on the premises. You most certainly can get the most beautiful mushrooms even at your local grocery store. So if you're just a fan of the portobellas, the white button, go for it, guys. So if you are working with the wild mushrooms, we want to go for some bite-sized pieces. This lion's mane is a great example of something that you can really work with it in a number of ways. And I'm just gently pulling apart small pieces from this. It's beautiful. And with all mushrooms, we're looking for universal size. You certainly don't want to chop up the small ones, but these that I'm taking aside here, I'm actually inspecting them, making sure there's nothing wrong with them. And I'm going to cut them in half because they're a little bit big. And honestly, guys, this doesn't have to be complicated. You can get those white mushrooms, you can get those portobellas. Just make sure they're nice and clean. You can wash mushrooms, you just have to dry them really well so they don't start becoming a sponge. Because ultimately for this dish, we want this to swim in a little bit of this marsala sauce that we're making with some half and half or cream or whatever you have on hand. This comb tooth is easy to just pull apart. It's like heaven, guys. Honestly, this is a dish that I can recall a couple of times we've done for Christmas. We don't do tradition. We like to figure out what we're in the mood for. What would be great to have that we haven't had in a long time. That's the best part about for us. I mean, it's just my husband and I, and this is one of the greatest ways we can just have fun with our holiday dinners. So here we're just taking garlic. Now, mind you, I'm going to be writing about a quarter cup of this in my recipe, but it's up to you. You're in charge. We're very garlic happy people, and we are not afraid. So I've got my garlic, and I've got some julienne onions here that I'm going to set aside. This is part of your mise en place, guys. So now that the vegetables are done, we're going to work on our flour that we need to lightly coat our chicken breast. And yes, season your flour. Very, very important. I'm using the basics, guys. Kosher salt, black pepper. I'm going to throw in some thyme and onion powder into this tray of flour. I can't give you exact measurements on this because honestly it's going to depend upon the size of the chicken breasts you're working with. So, just eyeball it, don't go crazy. But ultimately you're still the one in charge. It's up to you. So we're going to put this all in this little tray. We're going to mix all of this up together. That way we're coating the chicken with some flavor. We're giving it a light coating of flour so we can lightly bread it. And this is the easiest thing I can do to make this as clean as possible. And ultimately with chicken, always have a dry hand and a using hand. So I have my 2 chicken breasts that I'm doing for this, and you do need to clean this. So first things first, I'm going to remove any membrane, any fat deposits. Sometimes there's a bit of a bone at the top. That'll be the collarbone sometimes. You might even see some rib bones. So it's always important to check your chicken. That doesn't sound really good, I'm sorry, but it's funny. So we're doing a light cleaning job on this. The beauty of this is it's ensuring that no one's going to be flossing their teeth when they take a bite of the chicken when it's cooked. My husband did that one time. Thank God he didn't choke, but God, it was so hysterical. So after we've done the cleaning, we're going to carefully cut this in half. We're going to butterfly this chicken breast because it's pretty big, pretty meaty. And we're going to repeat the same process with the other chicken breast here. It's very important to work as clean as possible, and you always want to be cognizant of the fact that chicken can definitely get everywhere, especially when you're going to pound it. So there's a couple of things you can do with that when it comes to pounding out your chicken. We'll get to that soon. This particular breast was a little bit of a project. I mean, it had quite a bit of crud I had to take off. These chicken breasts came from a local stand, so I've got some farm fresh ingredients here. Very happy to be supporting local when I can. And again, carefully butterfly your chicken. This is going to be cut in half. We'll get rid of our scraps. And I hope you noticed for this portion of the video, I have only used my left hand to actually touch that chicken. I'm keeping my right hand free and clear to grab whatever I need, and my left hand is dedicated solely to touching the chicken and handling that and making sure everything is as safe as possible. So we're going to cover this up with saran wrap, and we're going to use our meat tenderizer. Do not pound the hell out of this, guys. Chicken is very delicate. We also halved it, so we're looking for some cutlet style here. So let the tool do the work for you. Just let it gently hit the meat. This will help ensure that you're not putting holes in the meat. So we're going to repeat the process again with the other two halves. We'll put the saran wrap right on top, bring our tool over, and start gently pounding this down so we can get this thinned out. This is going to help us be able to control how fast this cooks in the pan, because we're not going to cook this completely through, guys. It's going to be a 2-cook process, so we'll show you later in the video here. So now that we've got the chicken all prepped, throw away that saran wrap and get your tray. Again, clean right hand holding the tray, left hand is playing with the chicken. And we're going to get this coated in our seasoned flour as best as possible. Go over it a couple of times. And you see how self-contained this is? I've got this mess controlled, guys. This is the best part, and we can make sure everyone is safe. And of course, you're always going to clean up after you're done. That's common sense. But this helps me to make sure that my left hand is the only thing touching that chicken. And I can see the seasonings I put in that flour, so I know I'm going to have some flavor come through when we cook that chicken. This is looking great. And of course, with this flour, you do not want to save it. Just make sure you chuck it. Send it to the sink. Get it cleaned. And now we've got our chicken ready to go. And we're off to the stove. So on medium heat, we're going to use some olive oil. A little bit more kosher salt and black pepper went in there. And we do not, I repeat, do not want to cook this chicken through. I'm testing this chicken with a fork just to make sure that we still have some give left. So we're going to take this out, put it off to the side. I'm going to actually keep it warm with a cover. And we got all that flavor in the pan, so hit it with your butter. Get that nice and melted. And again, salt, black pepper, hit the pan with your seasoning. We want to season as you go. Black pepper is something I love in this dish. I think it brings out so many more flavors than normal. I love what this does. So you're going to be in charge of that as well, guys. Now we do want to add our mushrooms at this point. We don't want to overcook these either. We're going to add our onions and our garlic. And I'm going to say we cook this about 75% of the way. I don't want these overcooked because I still have to work with the masala, the stock. I'm using chicken stock for this. And I also have light cream. Now you don't have to do the light cream, but we're doing a creamy chicken masala. I want that dreamy creaminess to be on my plate. And here we are, we've added the masala. Do a dry masala, guys. Not everyone is going to want a sweet hit with this dish unless you're really into that. And we want to be able to reduce this down by about half. I'm only adding in about 4 ounces of my chicken stock here. We're going to bring this back up to temperature. You'll see it starting to bubble here pretty fast, actually. And looking at those mushrooms, I know that eventually we're going to finish this off by adding the rest of what we need, because eventually the chicken's going to go into the pan, the cream's going to go into the pan, and we want that all to come together. We initially start with a boil, but we will be bringing this down to a simmer, because I don't want to kill that dairy that we're going to be putting in. And I wish you could smell this, guys. This is the epitome of all culinary facials you could ever experience. So after hitting this with the light cream, you can do half and half, by the way. It just needs a little bit more cooking time if you want to get it thickened. You might have to do a slurry, but we're not doing a lot of light cream in this at all. And it's perfectly fine to enjoy this meal. Just don't eat the whole damn pan in one sitting. So I did a taste test, so I knew I needed a little bit more kosher salt and black pepper. That's very important when you're bringing a dish together. Taste as you go, because the more ingredients you add, you may have to make adjustments. So looking at this, I've got everything clearly up to temp. I've got everything smelling beautiful here, so I'm going to actually hit the pan with the chicken. Now this chicken is about 75% finished. We're going to finish this all together in the pan. Now that light flour coating we did, that's going to help gently thicken this base. That's the beauty of this dish. You really don't need to create a roux, because this is going to help thicken gently. This is not going to become a gravy, but it's going to be this luscious dressed sauce. And I can tell you right now, I'm really wishing I made another batch because this was really good. So all in all, guys, it's really just a little bit extra prep work, but let's take a look and see how amazing this came out. Check that out, guys. Serve this up with some mashed potatoes or roast potatoes. I've seen people do this with fresh cooked rice. And you can certainly make this your own with your own seasonings. But I swear to God, people, you haven't lived until you've had a creamy marsala. So please check out the recipe. If you need my help, I am available. Happy cooking, and thanks for watching.